all you've done to your bodies. It's still real to me, damn it. I mean.
Welcome to RiverCity-Media's special presentation of AEW Dynasty that's coming up this weekend. Along with Jeremy Johnson, Randall Cunningham, I'm Howie Chaney. And guys, let's get right to it because I know we're going to have a lot of comments going on. So we're just going to go straight into it. First match of the Dynasty. I do not know the orders. These cards are subject to change. So I'm just going to go as of right now. You got the, you got the Bullet Club going against the Acclaimed. Jeremy, your thoughts?
What's happened to the Acclaimed? They were red hot at one time with their little scissor me gimmick. And, I really like the tag team, to be honest with you. I'd like to see them go get hot again, to be honest with you. Bullet Club Gold. I really think the Gunn brothers are going to be really good. I just don't think they're there yet.
Now, this is going to be title for title, six-man title, I think is what they're called. Randy knows more about it because part of them comes from the ROH and then part of it's the AEW. Randy?
Well, I think it's the unification of the ROH six-man and the AEW six-man. And Jeremy talking about the Acclaim being hot. I've been thinking a lot about AEW and how people say, oh, they're not hot. You can't stay hot forever. They've kept them relative even through this period of kind of moving away from it. And I think that's because right now they need FTR and the Bucks in the tag team front. Okay. Because they're the two biggest names in tag team. Good place to put I think some of the better talent. I don't think the Gun Club is there yet either. Jay White is one of the best in the world. Jay White is kind of took a step back from where he was at in New Japan to be where he's at in AEW. Mm-hmm. So, and Daddy Ass is still badass Billy Gunn. So I look for a good match. I look for this to lead some heat for Bullet Club Gold, because they just can't let Jay White stay there. I could see this being a screw job, and Bullet Club Gold coming out as the unified trios champion.
Well, y'all were talking about the Acclaim being red hot and everything, and Randy, you mentioned the reasons why they're not, and I feel like it's because of the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks, I feel like, just don't want a tag team to be hot.
Yeah, what have we said?
That's just my opinion. Sorry.
I disagree in the fact that the tag team division had been in bad shape in AEW. And if you have two tag teams that have that name, it is FTR and the Bucks, and you're going to get FTR Bucks 4. So this can't keep going. So I think this is a blow-off more than anything. And it's a ladder match. I think they're desperate to find something that could fit in that co-main. And I don't know that the Acclaim could go to the co-main and sit across from FTR yet. No. If it was anybody, it would be one of those throw-together teams, Howie, which I hate in AEW, which they're world famous for doing because they have to do it. And if AEW still has a weakness, it's in the tag team division.
Yeah, well, I feel like the reason it is a weakness because the Bucks won't let nobody do what they need to do.
Well, we're going to find out because Motor City Machine Gun's probably going to show up.
Yeah, I love Motor City Machine Guns. I'm so glad they're back together.
When we get to the main event, it is the Bucks versus FTR, so they can make an appearance.
I'm all for it.
FTR Bucks is dead. And if you got to find FTR, who's obviously the best team in the world, a rival, that could be it. Mm-hmm. But to your point, I just don't think there's that good of tag teams in AEW. Great single talent. I've really been thinking about the tag teams.
Yeah.
And they're pretty trash.
Yeah, well, they, like you said, Reynolds, they do throw them together, I mean, you got some of those very young teams like Top Flight, and and those guys can't stay. They stay injured all the time. So
that's the one team I think they want to be there.
But they've stayed injured so much that they can't build any kind of momentum or anything like that.
And you can't put the Hardys back together. Now, I guess Jeff's gone or Matt's gone.
Yeah,
so the Acclaim's it. Howie's right. It's either the Acclaim or it's the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
And just got the Acclaim was so red hot. They weren't just hot. They were red hot, extremely red hot. Then all of a sudden they take them off TV and you don't see them for a while.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the middle of all this hotness. I don't understand why they did that. So anyway, that's just my opinion. I feel like well, we're gonna get
welcome aboard, Howie.
So we'll move on. We'll move on to the FTW World Championship or the FTW Championship. It's going to be Hook against Chris Jericho. Randy, I'll let you get this one started since you're a big Jericho fan.
Jericho's jobbing his way out the door. I mean, that's what Jericho's role is now, is to job to these guys. And they may put the FTW World Championship on him, but it's going to be so he can lose to Hook eventually. I look for him to win in a screw job, but I also look, is Hook going to sign with the WWE? That's the billion-dollar question. If he truly has told AEW, I'm out the door at the end of this contract, which is this year, there is no reason for them to push him. There's nothing but job of him.
Right.
If they're still unsure about it, Jericho's a big name to put him over. And I look us to get an answer about whether Hook is going to be WWE bound or AEW bound by who wins this match.
Yeah.
All right, Jeremy.
Look, I don't understand the pattern here. I do, but I don't. Let me put it this way. It started with Cody when Cody was in AEW. Every new talent, every introduction, they had to be the one to wrestle. Now, I know Hook's not new, but with Jericho, it seems like to me that he wants to attach himself to every person that is, either getting over or kind of getting over, and he's using the excuse that, well, I'm helping to put him over. Now, I love Jericho. I think his career, but I think this is one of those things where he's staying too long. He's not in good shape. He's not in good. He doesn't look good. He doesn't look. And I just think, to me, it's almost one of those things for me, and it's just my opinion because I don't know, that he's just trying to stay relevant, so he attaches himself to all this young talent and, all this, anybody that's becoming hot. Now, the more accurate may be what Randall said, but sometimes it looks like he's just trying to attach himself to whatever the thing that's going he wants to be in the middle of it.
I had the opposite. I feel like Hook was floundering, and they just had to find him some direction. And so gives him some direction. This could go on several months, but I definitely think Hook was. If we talk about dying, I think more. Y'all were more with the Acclaimed dying. I'm going to tell you 100 times more. I think Hook was dying on the vine with nobody to wrestle, and I think Hook was maybe the hottest young talent they had. So I don't know who you put him with unless you want to put him with a Ricky Starks or somebody to put him over. Now, if Jericho comes out and clean victories Hook, I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
But
I will say this about Jericho. He doesn't mind putting people over, even though what I just said, he tries to attach himself. He will put people over, for sure.
And plus, to Howie's point, I think this is a reset a little bit for AEW pay-per-view. I think this is going into we got London in 4 months, I think we're just seeing. I called this Battleground in some notes I made. I think this is equivalent to WWE's Battleground. It's just trying to steal a pay-per-view or two.
Now, I will say, yeah, this card, if you look at this card and looking at it, it's a really nice looking card, though. We're going to nitpick and give our little jabs and critiques, but it's a pretty good it's a really good card, and I've not been disappointed by any AEW pay-per-view that I've ever purchased and watched. They tend to put on really good pay-per-views.
What's the one we bought, Howie, that we hated? There was one I both thought we hated. I can't remember.
Yeah, we both bought it. I can't remember what it was. It was 2 or 3 months ago, something like that. But let's go back to the first match real quick. Y'all pick your winners. The Acclaimed Bullet Club Gold. Jeremy.
I'm gonna go Bullet Club Gold.
Randy.
Bullet Club Gold.
Okay, on this match here, Hook and Jericho. Randy.
Hook.
Jeremy.
I'm gonna go with Hook as well.
All right. Now, if I can remember to ask y'all who y'all move forward where we don't have to back up. So the next match is, like I said, these are no order, nothing like that. They're subject to change because they actually have a collision that's coming up on Saturday night as well.
Unbelievable.
You never know what's going to happen on a collision, and some of these matches somebody could get hurt. God forbid, but it could happen. So anyway, this next match is the AEW Continental Championship. It's going to be Pac against Okada. Jeremy, kicks off.
Well, I think this is a freaking good match. I mean, I'm a fan of good matches too. I know they suck at writing stories, but they do. They suck. They suck. And they can't put together a good story at all. But this is a freaking good match right here if Pac doesn't get injured during the match. But you got Okada, and to me, I think if he stays healthy, he's in a completely different stratosphere because the guy can work. He's athletic. He's strong. He's jacked. This is going to be a great matchup.
Randy, I'm surprised that I watched it today, but I watched the Dynamite from last night. But I'm surprised about how big Okada really is as far as height-wise. Randy, you've been watching him for a long time.
Okada, and you saw him talk. If you haven't been to Wednesday night, so you'll see him talk a little bit. And 6'4", 6'5", kind of. Yeah. I mean, he's going to tower over Pac. I don't think if Pac hadn't been hurt, they have this match. But you've got to find Okada an opponent, and you've got a guy that's been basically off TV for the last year. So you can let him go in and lose to Okada, and it ain't like you build anything with him. But my God, if they both aren't in the top 10 in wrestlers in the world, and we're going to talk about that again when we get to semi-main event.
Yeah.
And stories or not, if you like in-ring, this will be. Yeah. There'll be a story told between ropes. I'll put it that way. I look Okada to go over clean too.
All right,
It's got to be Okada because I don't think you bring that's the biggest acquisition they've had over the last little bit besides Mercedes, and you're not going to put him in a pay-per-view and beat him, in my opinion.
According to what I've read, Mercedes, Will, and him received maybe the 3 biggest offers ever from AEW. So that's big money.
Mm-hmm. You're not going to pay that much money, and then he has to do a job on a pay-per-view in the middle of the ring.
And again, we're setting up London. Yeah. And I'm telling you what, the worst thing could happen to AEW would be 35,000 people buy tickets for All In.
Yeah, after last year's total, that would be a big.
Yeah, but I don't expect. Do you really expect them to sell or equal last year's?
No, I expect them to be close.
They got to be excited. In my opinion, if they sell 50,000 tickets, they got to be ecstatic about that.
Yeah.
Will Ospreay at the top of that card.
Mm-hmm.
That's like putting Ric Flair on the top of a card in Charlotte.
That was what I was about to say.
So
yeah.
All right, move on to our next match. It's the AEW World Tag Team Championship ladder match. FTR against the Young Bucks. We talked about it a little bit. Randy, go ahead.
FTR is on a long contract. I do like the character. The character that the EVPs are playing now is exactly who you say they are. So if you hate them, then you should love this character.
Well, that's an extension of who they really are. That's why it's so good, because we all know who they really are. A bunch of spoiled.
I expect this to be a heartbreaker, but I expect it to go. I expect to see. I'm not going to. I think it might be a ruse, because I fully expect the next pay-per-view to be a triple threat with the Machine Guns versus FTR versus Young Bucks. I don't know that we get a champion out of this. If we do get it, I think it's highly controversial, and we end up, because I think when we get to London, that's going to be the tag team match, a three-way ladder match. FTR, the Machine Guns, and the Bucks.
All right, so here's what I want to say right here. Why did they think this had to be a ladder match? Why? Because we got to have a ladder match. I think it's ridiculous. Look, FTR match they don't have to be in a ladder match for it to be a good match. And it's going to be a good match. I will say this, since they tried so desperately to take that backstage footage of CM Punk choking out Little Jungle Boy and tried to weave it into this, where is Jack Perry going to show up? Is he going to show up?
Yeah, he's going to show up during this match.
I think so. And I think what you're going to see is he's going to join the Elite. He's going to help the Young Bucks win. And I'm going to be ill. Because I can't stand any of them. So
I don't see it happening.
All right, so look, I'm gonna rant right here. What a desperate attempt to take a backstage security camera footage and weave it into a storyline.
I don't want to go
with a person that's the center stage of that video that's working for the other company. You're freaking drawing attention to CM Punk. Great work, Tony Khan. Fantastic.
Who you got winning, Jeremy?
Yeah,
I've got the Young Bucks to win. Randall keeps losing his phone. Anyway, I've got Young Bucks with interference or some assistance by Jack Perry.
I'm gonna say I don't know who wins, but I think we see the Motor Machine Guns decide who wins. If they're,
I would be okay with that.
If they're a heel team, you see the Young Bucks win. If they're a face team, you probably see FTR win. But whatever they show up as, they switch to the other one before London.
So have you got a definite that makes you think that they are signing? I know they're not with TNA anymore.
Stuff that I read today, they have signed.
Cool.
What I've heard is they haven't signed. I heard it today on one of the podcasts. They haven't signed, and even if they did sign, they can't appear for a while because it's something about they're done with TNA, but they got like a no compete or something for a while longer.
I read today is they've definitely signed. Now I don't know if there's a non-compete, but I read on SC Scoops, which is my source, that the contract was signed, but the repeat, and it was a story that was wrote about how the WWE couldn't sign anybody and how AEW signs everybody right now. But that doesn't mean it's accurate, because in the world of wrestling news, it can be meaning different things. And Howie's saying that concerns me because what I read is 100% they are signed and cleared.
Okay. Well, when it comes to wrestling, you don't know what's going to happen till it happens.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a good that we like that. I'll be fantastic if they show up.
I'm a big mark for the Motor and Machine Guns because I think they are. Shelley and Saban, both world champions, both can carry into. They're a unique talent, and they're older. Mm-hmm. They're both, approaching 40, or in their 40s. So, but they kind of got that Rock and Roll Express feel, and all the girls love them, and both good looking. And I think they're going to do a lot. I think the closest thing AEW had to putting a tag team together that worked was Starks and Big Bill. I mean, they carried the company for 6 months.
We got the privilege of seeing the Machine Guns at Ric Flair's last match.
Yeah.
I'll kill this phone in a second. So.
Yeah, and it was cool. I'm just glad I got to see them live. Yeah, great.
So the AEW International Championship is going to be Kyle O'Reilly against Roderick Strong. Randy, your thoughts on this one? Oh, wait, whoa. Randy, your thoughts on this?
I love Kyle O'Reilly. I think they're somehow this storyline is really confusing to me, and I think part of it's because Adam Cole got hurt, and we really can't figure out what's going on. Bobby Fish came and left too, and now he's out saying really bad stuff about AEW. Kyle O'Reilly left and turned down a WWE contract and came back, but he came back to not join Adam Cole. We all know in NXT that
they were over.
They were superstars, and they all left because they didn't see them as WWE stars. They wanted to make Adam Cole a manager, which I get. If you want your guys 6'5" and 250, these aren't the guys.
Well, look at it right now, Randall. How he's been hurt for how long? They may have been doing him a favor by making him a manager.
Well, there's a lot of indie wrestling on his card too. I'm confused by the storyline. I do like Kyle O'Reilly stepping out on his own. He's been a behind guy that's never been in front. There is a tag team that exists that's called Future Shock. That was Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. And I'm wondering if they're setting up something, maybe to bring Future Shock back, or because I'm completely confused. Great storyline, kind of off on their own, no direction though. So best wrestler that's not got a feud right now, I guess, is Kyle O'Reilly. So if you're going to put a match together, it's a good match.
All right, Jeremy.
Well, I mean, I think both those guys are really a little underrated. But yeah, to what Randall said, they in NXT, they were over. I mean, everything from the entrance music to the whole deal. And I don't understand why they couldn't see them as more than NXT stars. But I'm just not. O'Reilly is not a top guy. He can work. He's strong. I just don't feel like he's either one of these guys. I don't know what it would take. I just feel like they were so hot in that time that I don't think they'll ever match that individually.
Do you not feel like they all kind of stood behind Adam Cole though?
Yeah. And they did.
He was the face, and they could all work.
Yeah.
The face is still Adam Cole, but he can't work no more.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, well, I'm going to throw this out there. It was almost like the Freebirds.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, Michael Hayes was the mouth and could, but he was the talker, and then you had Bam Bam and Buddy Roberts were the guys that could work, and it was the modern day iteration of that. I would love to see that again. I thought that kind of broke up too soon with Fish leaving and all. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see them all together.
Well, you guys said earlier about the storyline, you couldn't follow it. I follow the storylines. I'm good with it. And maybe it's because I watch all the programming, and I am the mark, and I am the AEW guy. This one, I truly can't follow, other than they needed they needed an opponent. They took the belt off Orange Cassidy, which they needed to, but they needed to go somewhere with it. And this is a placeholder until something better can happen.
So I'm going to answer kind of some of y'all's questions real quick, and y'all know the answers, but I'm just going to put it out there. They did great in NXT because of Triple H being in charge of NXT. Triple H doesn't look at size; he looks at working ability. Once he couldn't get them up to the main roster because of who was in charge at that time, and if they wasn't, like Randy said earlier, 6'5", 300-something pounds, he didn't want them on the main roster. So they knew that. That's why they end up leaving NXT and coming to AEW.
And we got
if it was changed, if their contracts ended today, that Triple H would be on the phone trying to get those guys to come back to WWE.
I got this exact question on YouTube for you, Howie. Will send it to you. What would happen if Vince McMahon had already been took out of WWE when this all happened, and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish and Roderick Storm and Adam Cole's contract came up? And I really think it was Adam Cole's more than anybody. Because if I'm Roderick Strong and I'm looking at Adam Cole going, if you don't believe Adam Cole can be main roster, I can't be. When I read that question, it's asking the same thing you are. If Triple H and Shawn Michaels was in charge of WWE, they would have been on the main roster a long time ago.
Yeah, because you look at
the only one, I'm sorry, Jeremy, but the only one that might not be up there, and that would be at his own choosing, would be Adam Cole, because he wants to be with his fiance. And that would be the only reason that he would want to go to AEW. But
they would
brought her back to WWE. You never know. Yeah. Go ahead, Jeremy.
They would make the effort to bring her, though, as a group now.
Yeah. So you look at what's happening right now in WWE, and we talked about last week how they split those tag team titles up. So you had Monday night a qualification match for the challengers for the Awesome Truth, which I thought the belts looked great. I don't know if y'all saw the new tag team belts. I thought they looked really good. I thought it was a really emotional moment for R-Truth. I thought it wasn't all play, even though he's doing his comedy. But the winner of that match was who? The challenger, to determine the challenger for those titles.
Dude, I can't remember what I ate.
It was DIY. It was DIY. It was Gargano and Ciampa, who were over in NXT. Who Gargano left. I think Ciampa left for a little while. Triple H is in charge. Now all of a sudden they're number one contenders for those titles. So I really believe that would have took place, and it could still take place if Cole could be healthy or whatever. I'd like to see that reunion in WWE of those Strong, Cole, and O'Reilly. I'd love to see it, and I think they'd be given a legit opportunity.
Okay, Randy, who's the winner?
I don't think you can take the title off of Roderick Strong.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I think he's going to retain that title. I think it'll be physical. I'll tell you that. It will be physical for sure.
All right, this next match is brought to you by a drink of choice, Monster Energy.
A Coca-Cola product.
I got my Sonic, which is basically just water. And believe it or not, Jeremy's got a Coca-Cola product. Imagine that.
I don't have Senior, whatever that was, a couple of weeks ago, which, by the way, it was very good. I'd like to find where I could get that,
I got out of the brace. Don't make me laugh.
See it. Hey, it was good. It was really good. I will not lie. I wish I had more than one of them. So, anyway.
All right, here we go to the next match. It's going to be – I'm sorry, Randy, go ahead.
For a throwaway pay-per-view. I expect this to be very physical. I expect to see some definite, Kyle O'Reilly is a legitimate karate guy. Mm-hmm. Strong is a legitimate wrestler. I expect it to be physical.
So I will say this. I would like to see this match go down with no interference. Now, I know Strong has got his little faction hanging with him or whatever. I would like to see this just be mano a mano and have a winner. And then beat the what at each other.
Well, that's not going to happen, AEW. So,
I know, right? Come on, just let them fight.
So our next match is going to be a trios match. It's going to be the House of Black against Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe.
Let's get everybody a check, pay-per-view check.
There you go. AEW's version.
Hey, the one thing I got to shout out, thank God, Tony Khan, you done such a good thing. Putting the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship on Mark Briscoe.
I do like it.
That was well-deserved in another moment. While it will never equal in the public eye what Cody did, it is a moment for the Ring of Honor fan that I had those tears in my eyes again watching it. Mm-hmm. In respect to Jay Briscoe and his brother had done so much for that company. Now they both have held that world title, which to a lot of independent, and I had that debate this weekend. What the WWE Championship, the Undisputed, one Cody owes, most important title in the world. No question. Yeah. Where does the rest of these titles rank? And for me, the ROH world title is in the top 5. It's probably between the NWA title and the ROH title to the, which one would be the 5th one. But word is that House of Black is headed back to the WWE where Malakai Black, whatever Tommy End, his wife has been there the whole time. And everybody thought they left one other time. And Malakai Black kind of made fun of the marks who got on the internet and says this. But the story I hear is that he still had time on his contract, so he had to come back and finish the contract out. I expect maybe the House and Black together to end up in the WWE. Brody King would be my one question, but Brody King would fit in the WWE. Buddy Matthews is engaged to Rhea Ripley. There's a lot of ties.
What was that laugh about, Jim?
He's engaged to Rhea Ripley.
And what's her name?
Good job, buddy.
What's her name now that she goes by? Zelina Vega?
Yeah.
Zelina Vega, yeah.
She's married to Malakai Black.
Yeah.
Brody King's just a big independent guy who still does a lot of independent work.
Yeah.
Brody King has been talked about the Uncle Howie group, though, because they've signed Eric Rowan. So I could see Brody King coming in and filling the Luke Harper role.
Yeah.
In a new Firehouse, whatever they want to call it. So I think they just threw a match together, and I fully expect Edge and Briscoe and Howie Chaney and Joe Namath and Jeremy and whoever else was on that team to win.
Hey, let me just add on the Brody King thing. I do think he would fit. I do think there'd be a place for him. I think pairing him up with Eric Rowan would be great. Please just don't bring them back as the Bludgeon Brothers.
If you're going to bring them back to if you're going to bring Braun Strowman back and Eric Rowan back, it would be hard to replace Luke Harper, but that's one of the few guys I think could step in and replace him.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to get so brought up in this. I think this is the last appearance for the House of Black.
Hey, but look, what about Edge? How's Adam Copeland doing, in your opinion? I think he's having a ball.
I think it's a lot like – so I know I'm the AEW guy, and we get on here and we kind of fuss and fight and argue. Yeah. But everybody, we're still all love wrestling. We have this.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the guys want to be free to just be a wrestler. Bryan Danielson, Adam Copeland, they seem to love AEW. Some of the guys want to be part of the machine, which the machine is the WWE. And don't get yourself wrong. It has a 55-year head start on.
Right.
Will Ospreay didn't want to be part of the machine. That's the reason he's in AEW.
Yes.
I really like what they've done with Edge. He's not top of the card guy, and he's not at this point in his career.
I don't think he wants to be at this point.
He's kind of feeling that Sting role to me, a guy who will finish out his career with some. And that's a good. Whoever thought you'd see Mark Briscoe and Edge
and Adam Copeland, yeah.
Mark Briscoe and Cactus Jack, maybe.
Yeah. Well, for real though, I think you're right. I think this for him, he didn't need to do this. He could have retired and probably never, lifted a finger in the ring again. I believe it's one of those things where you look, I don't have no pressure on me. I've got way lower expectations on me as far as not being a part of that machine and not having all that thing. I'm just gonna have some fun, and I think he's doing things that maybe he wanted to do. He never was given a chance to do, possibly. So yeah, I think he's having a ball.
I think Edge and Christian has thrived in AEW. I think Matt and Jeff Hardy may be the worst combination ever.
Oh God.
They've done nothing in AEW. They are lost. I actually hope they go back to the WWE. And I think a little bit about that is who can be a part of the machine and who can be AEW's got to feel a little bit like an indie scene. Mm-hmm. So go ahead.
Well, I know this is an AEW show, but word came out this week that WWE is wanting to make NXT a third brand. Mm-hmm. And so when they have their draft here next week, that anybody could be drafted to any of them, NXT, SmackDown, or WWE or Raw. So, they could be looking for some people to fill some spots. Randy?
If it's Baron Corbin and people like that going to NXT, I just think it's WWE failures that they're kicking down to give the NXT guys a work. If they put a legit superstar on NXT, it will catch my attention. If they move LA Knight to NXT, they move AJ Styles to NXT. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just want somebody name, I like it. NXT is my favorite WWE programming. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of that's because Shawn Michaels books it, Mm-hmm. If you haven't watched NXT, watch it. It's great.
Yeah, it's a good product. I like the environment. It's smaller, and those kids are hungry. They're working hard to get over and to try to get promoted to the roster. So, and I love them moving those superstars that are making appearances. I mean, heck, Becky Lynch went on there. Natalia's been there. AJ's been there. The Good Brothers, or whatever they're called now, the OC, Bullet, whatever. I don't know what they're called now, but they've been on there. They're veterans. So it's always fun to see those guys appear. And so I will be curious, but we all know how the brand splits and the draft goes. They say, hey, we're going to set a completely different brand and all that. And the first thing you know, you got talent showing up everywhere. They never really stick firmly with that. So
I will make this, again, AEW show. Raw stinks. NXT and SmackDown is the WWE product right now. And I love, and SmackDown's because of Cody, who I reckon now is permanently SmackDown. But
I think he's going to be going back and forth.
Raw, yeah, he said he's going to be going back and forth. So,
which that's a plus for Raw because he's getting a pop, buddy. He's on fire.
All right, let's go back to this match now. Let's who do y'all got? House of Black or the other guys?
I think Black's on the way out the door. So I'll go the other guys.
I'm going other guys. Eddie Kingston, Adam
Copeland, and then Briscoe.
Mm-hmm.
All right, for the AEW Women's World Championship, we got Thunder Rosa against Toni Storm. Jeremy?
Are y'all tired of the Toni Storm character at this point?
Yeah.
I think it's time. Have you been a fan, and I'm asking a question, but have you been a fan of Thunder Rosa?
Yeah, she does good. She works good.
She does good. Yeah. So here's my thoughts. Thunder Rosa did not lose that title.
No. She
didn't lose it. She was injured and actually didn't know whether or not she'd even be able to wrestle again. I think that it's time. I think that title's going to change hands because I think what you're going to see is you're going to see Toni Storm come back with a snap back to normal, if you will. I think that's run its course. I think it was good in the beginning. I would like to see, I will say this, Thunder Rosa, if you look at her and you look at her face paint, which I think is always awesome, if you listen to her entrance music, it's pretty, and it's pretty menacing, I guess, if you will. But she never appears to be that way. She's not done that in one match. I think she would be a great heel. Now, she's not a heel here. She's a baby face. I think she would be better served as a heel because anybody, if you have this persona, you got this visual, you got the music to go with it, you dress a certain way, and all you're doing is getting beat out of you, and you're selling all the time, it don't match up, right? Now, I know she's not big. She's not as big as Toni Storm. I'd like to see some real aggression, a little less selling, a little more, and win the title back and then go on a tear and morph into a heel. But I do think it's going to change hands.
Jeremy just booked All In. You can't beat Toni Storm in England.
Yeah.
And beat a heel Thunder Rosa. And All In is going to be whatever her name is, Mercedes Monet, who so far I hate her character.
I know.
It's just not her. Be yourself. That's going to be her crowning achievement. So I think exactly what you just said. I could see Thunder Rosa going on a heel run and losing that title to Mercedes Monet in All In London.
Yeah, I'm all for a heel Thunder Rosa. Matter of fact, I think if I'm recalling, the first time I saw Thunder Rosa was in the NWA pre-COVID. And if I'm not mistaken, she was a heel in that little run that she had there.
I think so.
I think she was a heel. And I am more, here's something too, and I know I'm talking a lot, but here's something I didn't think about. When she was the champion last time, how often did they give her the opportunity to cut a promo and talk?
Not often.
It's like you didn't even realize she was a champion. And something that got brought up on Busted Open is, last week, I think they gave her the mic and give her time. And they were talking, she's a part of Busted Open as a commentator there, the Daily Show. But they gave her time on the mic, and she killed it. I think they've got to do more of that. And I do think they need to give her an opportunity, especially if she's going to be a heel. They need to let her cut those heel promos and stuff. I'd love to see her as a heel.
I hate to bust y'all's bubbles, but from what I've heard this week, she wants out. And she wants to go to WWE. So,
Son of a gun.
so who knows what'll happen?
Well, in that case, the title won't change hands.
I don't think she can go to WWE. I don't. I could see her wanting to go to AAA or New Japan. Yeah. I don't see her working in WWE.
Yeah, she's fiery and opinionated, and sometimes it ain't as easy to get into some kind of real rigid structure and everything. If you're that way, you don't blend well. Well, I'll be curious to see where she goes because I like her. I think she could be a lot better. I think if she did go to WWE, she would get a lot better if she was coached and stuff. So,
okay, let's go ahead and say that she's not going to WWE. We have no idea who you got winning, Jeremy.
If she's not out, until you told me that, I thought she was good. I would say she would win, and the title would change hands. I'm still going to go that way. Because I think Tony's run is over, and I think she's going to come back with a different persona.
Randy, same thing. All right, we'll move on to the next women's match. It'll be the TBS Championship. It's going to be Julia Hart defending against Nightingale. I can't think of her first name. Willow Nightingale. What I'm reading it off of is the print is so small it's hard to read. But anyway. Randy?
Oh, Julia Hart looks good, and it almost feels WWE that she really looks good. That she's the reason I think the House of Black is gone because they moved her away from them completely. So I think you're feeling a card. I don't love this match. I think Julia Hart wins clean.
Jeremy?
I do as well. What is Julia Hart doing with the TBS title? That's all I got to say. I don't think she's ready. I don't think she and Randall said it. She looks good.
Yeah.
I like her character. I think her in-ring is getting better. I mean, look, she's 20 years old.
She still should be managing somebody. I mean, she really fit that role they had her in the House of Black.
Yeah. So, what is she doing with the title? Why? You got. Well, I'll back up. How many credible women do you have that you would want to carry the title? Well, I don't know why. I don't know why is Chris Statlander injured again?
No, and
why is she not carrying the title? Why isn't Willow? Why wasn't she the one with the title?
She was the NJWP second World Women's Champion after Mercedes.
Yeah.
And I just don't think her name in the U.S. is what it is, but she can actually work.
Yeah,
right?
she can. She's one of the ones that can.
And you have to put in there with somebody like her to get a good match out of her.
But you went for the TBS title is kind of the working title for the women, and I don't know. I mean, Jade couldn't work, but her carrying that title meant a whole lot more than Julia Hart carrying that title.
I'm going against both of you. I'm going to say that Mercedes Moné will interfere in this match, and Willow will end up winning the title, and that'll set up the next pay-per-view for Mercedes to beat Willow, get revenge.
That could be.
I'm okay with that. That's not bad booking. That right there.
And I
like Willow for her size. She moves well. She's got some skills. I like her charisma. I think she's got a lot of charisma there. So I think she could be a real star, and if once get her on TV, let the fans get to know her more than they already have. So.
All right, guys, I've kind of rushed us through to get to what I'm calling co-main events. The first one is going to be Will Ospreay against Bryan Danielson. Jeremy, get us started.
It's going to be good. It's going to be freaking good, and it's going to be fit. I really believe you're going to watch this and think it's a legit fight. Because I think both that you got two of the best wrestlers in the entire world in the ring together. And I mean, I hope Danielson is healthy. I know he's had issues for now. It seems like forever. But I think this is going to be a banger of a match. And it's going to be fun to watch. I don't think you're going to have some acrobatics. But I think for most part, it's just going to be physical and fun to watch.
All right, Randy, bruv, what do you think?
Hey, if Bruv is going to lay it out, I don't know if I've seen anybody better than Will Ospreay in the last decade. I love all these Hall of Famers, and I love Roman Reigns and Cody, and I love all these matches they can work. Every time I watch Will Ospreay, I feel like he's in a fight for his life. And I was watching him the other night when he moved from hole to hole. And he moved from 2 holes, and he never let go. And he felt like he was punishing the guy in the whole movement. How many times do we see somebody do that, like where they go from an arm breaker to a cross face, but they slide across? Everything Will Ospreay does has meaning.
Yeah.
And Bryan Danielson, we talked about Edge having fun. I feel like Bryan Danielson's in the back with his feet up going, Tony, I'd like to wrestle Will Ospreay on this pay-per-view. Set that up for me. Oh, I'd like to go wrestle Onita in New Japan next week. Set that up for me. And I fully expect, Howie, this to be moving towards the coronation of Will Ospreay as the head of AEW. And I think that's the only way they stay relevant. If you get somebody that can capture America's contention on the level of a Ric Flair or somebody, because WCW done it all those years when the WWE was so much bigger and better by just having great star power at the top of this card. And I think you've seen AEW reach desperately to try to bring Okada and Ospreay in to be the face of this company that can actually draw attention away from Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Clean Will Ospreay over Bryan Danielson. We also may see the face turn here, which is coming when Ospreay turns on the Don Callis family.
Did you see last night's Dynamite where Ospreay turned the whirly bird or whatever it is Cesaro does, turns it into DDT?
Yeah, that's
it's crazy. He's the first time I ever watched him. Like, this guy he's a freaking he's crazy.
And he fired at Triple H on AEW, and I don't blame him for firing it. But then in one of the interview shows, he said, and you guys have mentioned it in here, I do not want to move my family to America. Yeah. AEW lets me live in England and perform in America.
Yeah.
WWE would not allow me to have that.
Right.
I want my children raised in England.
With
all the respect for the man in the world. He knows where the bigger organization is, but he knows he put his personal wants ahead of his.
He tried to do what was best for his family.
He did.
Yeah. So I will say this on that interaction. I mean, look, in the age that we're living in, it's just drawing attention to the business on both sides.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take it personal. They probably didn't.
So,
but it's drawing attention, and people got riled up over, well, Triple H said this, and it's all part of it.
Originally, until I heard Will Ospreay talk about it outside of the wrestling ring.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you. When he said what he said, I didn't have a clue about who he was.
I never thought about it. He didn't. I figured he was kind of jabbing. I didn't think it was somebody specific. I I mean, because that's been the thing. They don't. You work one time a week. The schedule's lighter, and you got people like Edge. They probably love that schedule. You got people with families that say, "Hey, I could make the big time here," and he would be a mega star, mega in the WWE. But he made a personal decision, which is what these guys, they ought to get to make, and they have a right to make, and so be it. If somebody else doesn't agree or doesn't like it or whatever.
And you. In New Japan, you really didn't see this personality come out because of the language barrier. Now you see the personality that's coming out that really makes me. I'm telling you, Will Ospreay's in my top 5 now of favorite wrestlers.
So, to me, this is, and I didn't give my winner, and Randall did. I'm with Randall though. It's going to be a clean in the middle of the ring. And I think this is one of those things where Danielson has been considered the best technical wrestler in the world. And could it be that this is a passing of the torch? Because we all know Danielson has already made comments that would indicate that, he's moving toward his final match and and moving out of the ring. So Ospreay clean for sure.
So let me ask you this question, both of you this question real quick. Then we'll move on to the other main event. Which match will be better? Ospreay Danielson, Gunther, or Sami Zayn?
To me, I saw Ospreay Walter in the Independents. And it's out there if you want to find it. It's available. He couldn't work. He could work, but he couldn't work with him. I actually think the best match would be Ospreay Sammy.
No. You're not understanding what I'm saying. The match that Sammy and Gunther had this past week.
Yeah.
Will it be a better match than this one, or will this match be better than the other?
I don't think this will compare. I think this will be 100 times better.
Yeah.
I think the best match of all the combinations, though, would be Sammy in the ring with Ospreay. But I think Danielson Ospreay is better than Gunner Sammy.
Yeah. And that's not taking anything away from what they did at WrestleMania, because I thought it was fantastic.
And they still Gunther. He could do a lot more. They're limiting him. If you've not seen it, go put Walter in your YouTube. They're very limiting him to be a big man. He's capable of a lot of this. He's capable of much more in ring wrestling than they're. I just like Sammy. I do.
I love him.
Love the way Sammy works. So, I'd love to see Ospreay in the ring with Sammy.
Hey, and I know we're talking about AEW, but since you're on Sammy, that the other night, but with him and Gable, that was a pretty dang good match as well, and I liked the last part of it.
Yeah, Gable.
That was a freaking good match, and I like where they're going with that. I think that's going to string out for a little bit.
Unfortunately for Chad Gable, he's in the show business federation when he's got in-ring skills.
Yeah.
Chad Gable's got it all, though.
He's a legit wrestler, yeah.
Most underrated wrestler in the world right now is the two, in my opinion, is R-Truth and Chad Gable. Different reasons.
All right, we'll move on to the main event. It's going to be for the AEW World Championship. The champion, Samoa Joe, against Swerve Strickland with a run-in from MJF. No, I don't know.
Is that a spoiler or is that a prediction?
I don't know. You have to watch and find out come Sunday night. Randy, I'll let you kick it off on this one.
God, I want Swerve to win so bad. Yeah. But God, I can't figure out how they could let him win. Swerve has became more, outside of Ospreay, Swerve might be my favorite in AEW right now. And that interview where Joe come out and beat the crap out of him, but just that attitude of that arrogant
yes
Strickland, Man, I love it. And
Yeah.
his, we were talking about moves the other night. The guy's back was turned to him, and he threw a leg drop into him. Came out of that somehow with like a headlock, and I watched it like 3 times and couldn't figure out how he did what he did. Unless y'all can convince me, unfortunately, I think if you're going to give the title to Will Ospreay, I think it's got to be through Samoa Joe. I just think that name means so much. TNA champion. Should have been champion in the WWE. NWA champion. AEW champion. Was one of the 4 or 5 faces of the WWE before he got hurt, Samoa Joe carries power that Swerve don't, but God, Swerve's good.
Who you pick?
I'm going to pick Samoa Joe grudgingly. But if we're on here next week and we're talking about the AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland, y'all going to see a smile on my face.
It'll be okay. Yeah.
All right, Jeremy.
Yeah. Well, I feel the same way Randall does. At Swerve, look, the criticism, no stories. AEW's not doing a good job developing talent, and Swerve was a veteran anyway, and he had that training. But I feel like I think he should get the credit for what he's done more than anything, because I think his persona, everything that he's done, his in-ring has always been great, but he's picked it up over the last 6-8 months.
He was pure poo-poo when he walked in the door.
He was what?
That was pure poo-poo.
Yeah.
Those actions they tried to cargo.
Yeah.
And then that other Parker Brudeau and
that was awful.
They buried him in the biggest hole that could bury.
And he didn't
smelling like a rose.
Yeah, he didn't need any of that. Right. He
fits him though. Prince Nana and his little.
Yeah. And the thing I like is, he was trying to play a heel persona, or he was getting over, and Nana is supposed to be a heel, ahead of a heel faction, and the crowd is going nuts over the dance, over all that. Now, Swerve, here's the cool thing about Swerve. He's over right now as a babyface, pretty much, right? But he is a great heel as well. And Joe, I will say this, Samoa Joe is the best AEW World Champion they've had. Because like I agree with you, he should have held a title in WWE. And I think when you look and you see the AEW World Champion and you see the big man with the belt on his shoulder wearing a jacket and a suit, I think that's a champion right there. And as much as I'd like to see Swerve win, because I think he could carry it, that I don't think you take that belt off Samoa Joe right now.
And if Swerve don't win it, you can put him in the back of the line and bring him up when Ospreay does win it. And Ospreay Swerve is a great.
Yeah. So we've learned, and we're flipping over to the Cody story. All the fans, everybody wanted Cody to win that first WrestleMania. He was back against Roman. Oh, this is a travesty. We've learned that we waited another year and it didn't hurt anything. They were trying to move on, but how much greater was that? So if Swerve is willing to be patient, and they work that a little bit longer, it'll be that much bigger of a deal when he does win. Because to me, him and Samoa Joe and MJF, if he does show back up, or if he still – and you got maybe I don't even consider Moxley one of the top talents in AEW. I don't care. I think those three are probably 3 or 4 or 5. He's in the top 5.
All right, question for both of you. Oh, Jeremy, who you got? Who you got winning?
I got Joe.
Joe. Randy's got Joe, but he really wants Swerve to win.
I wouldn't be upset about it.
So here's my question, and here's your answers. Little or none, little or a lot. None, little or a lot is your answer. One word answer. Well, a lot's actually two, but anyway. How much? I got Jeremy on that one.
I'm thinking about it.
How much is Triple H kicking himself because Swerve Strickland was let go in WWE by someone before him? Randy.
A lot.
Jeremy.
I'm borderline. I'm gonna say.
I'm
gonna say a lot too. I never understood why they got rid of him. He was the NXT. Was he not the NXT champion? Wasn't he a part of that faction with what was it, with the big guy and the that they're still hanging on to?
Yeah, I didn't understand the release of Swerve.
Yeah, I did. I know they were cost cutting and they released a lot of people, but man, he would have been one of the first I would have brought back. Of course, here's the thing though: if they brought him back, they just stick him with Bobby Lashley, and they seem to want to put all the African Americans in one group to wrestle all the other African Americans and the Hispanics, and I don't understand that at all. But I'm not trying to be controversial, but it just seems funny that hey, we're gonna put these guys with Bobby Lashley. Yeah.
Well, it's just like all the women, EO Sky and all them. They're
all the Orient, all the Asian,
all the Oriental ladies are together.
Why do we have to do that?
I don't know. So,
and Shinsuke is opening match jobbing, so that's why people don't go to the WWE.
And I love Shinsuke. I love Shinsuke. He's got one of the best entrances ever at WrestleMania with what's her name playing.
He's jobbed the first two openings of Raw this year.
He sure did.
Okay, guys, give me your prediction as far as how do you rate this pay-per-view going to be? As far as we'll give it a letter grade. Jeremy?
I think it's going to be an A, at least.
All right, Randy?
I'm going to go B because I think it opens an A, and I think it falls to living crap in the middle, and then the final two matches saves it.
We got 10 matches, and I think that's 10 matches on the main card.
Wow.
And then it's going to be, and it starts at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. And they're going to have at least 1 hour of hour zero is what they call it. And you're going to have a couple more matches. It's going to be a long night, Sunday night.
Yeah.
More is less is better.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
The only thing I can think of is they may take 2 of these matches and put them on 0 hour and just have 8 matches. But 8 matches is still a lot for 3 hours. So
Danielson, Ospreay is going a while. Swerve Joe is going a while.
You got to figure 30 minutes each on those at least.
Hey, up here, I got one thing to say when we have an open mic segment.
That'll be just in a second. Okay, Randy, open mic.
Hey, listen.
Hang on here. Let me get ready.
I sent y'all in a video just a little while ago. Since I read about a possible Bloodline versus Bloodline feud, I am off the chain excited about what it could be.
Oh, yeah.
I want to root for Roman Reigns so bad. I mean, this guy has done everything the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So, WWE, hey, Big Nose, the guy I make fun of. I hate your wrestling. You and the little guy that used to run around acting like teenagers. If you don't make Bloodline versus Bloodline happen and put Paul Heyman on the right side, you've lost forever.
So that of course, we talked about Tama Tonga. All right, who is the other
5'2".
Yeah, and he's the actual brother, but Tama Tonga, of course, is Haku's son. So they're not related, but they come from that same heritage. I mean, hey, they took
Bowens.
Yeah, they took a Caucasian like the One Man Gang and made him Hakeem, the American Dream, or African Dream. So why can't they take a Samoan that's not related and make him a family member?
The Tama Tonga's tag team partner in the Gorilla Destiny in Japan is his real brother, Tamaloa.
Yes.
But I don't think he can get out of Japan yet.
Yeah.
He's still on like a rookie deal or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I expect him to come, but I was just excited about that.
There's a lot, and if you remember what Heyman said, last year at WrestleMania, it said that we're just in something about the chapters of the book, and we're still in the. So I mean, there's a lot, I'm sure, and I'm in on that as well.
Jeremy, saw Jacob Fatu at Flair's last match.
Yes.
But as
he's
good
big.
as he is, I need this one to be good. We've got some momentum behind wrestling, and hey, I hate him, but Moxley beating Naito on a soul is going to make the Japanese wrestling fans so mad that he's going to get destroyed in Japan. I guarantee you.
So let me ask you, did he bleed? Yes, I know. I saw it. I saw it.
But the fact they let him lose it the first time ever on American soil, the New Japan World Heavyweight Championship changed hands.
So I will say this right now. It's good wrestling wise for all companies. What's happening right now in WWE, and they can't do no wrong, is helping all the companies. I believe that. I believe it'll help all the companies, because if you look, to use this as an example, Caitlin Clark in women's college basketball and what she's done over this year, the Indiana Fever's ticket sales have just skyrocketed, and they just drafted her Monday night, I think.
I love Caitlin Clark too.
And it's helping the whole league, because their opponents are already, I saw where the Washington team was already, their game with Indiana, they're going to move over to the larger arena to have that game instead of the arena that they've been accustomed to having their home games in. And she sells tickets. It's good for basketball. It's good for women's basketball. Same thing. WWE being on fire and the things that are happening, it's going to help wrestling and wrestling fans. It's certainly going to be great for everybody.
So here's the subject of the next show, Howie. Is WWE on fire, or has AEW made them have to get off their butt and actually compete? And I think it's the latter. So I just think it's a good time as wrestling. TNA don't stink, man. If you're not watching TNA,
no, it don't.
Maybe my favorite female wrestler out there right now.
Oh, I want to see her on a bigger stage. We did it at Royal Rumble, and she showed very well in that Royal Rumble for sure. And I think that's great. See, that's the other thing. When would that have ever happened? And they bring her in. They brought Mickie James in carrying that TNA Knockouts title to the ring, and both times they've showed they didn't just job them out and get thrown out of the ring immediately. They showed very well. It's good for wrestling. It's good for TNA there to have that, and good for Jordan Grace. And anyway,
good. We've done 2 shows this week. Good.
Hey, you're welcome.
So let's do some programming notes real quick. Go ahead, Jeremy.
No, I'll just tell you, I DoorDash this evening instead of going out and trying to get some food, just so I could do this, because I thought it was important. We've done 2 shows. We get some consistency. So I tried, guys. That's all I can say.
Hey, and thank you for everybody for their prayers. I went to the doctor today. I have lost 23 pounds since I've had the shoulder surgery. My shoulder they released me to go back to work Monday. I was supposed to be out of work when they first told me another 5 weeks. So, God is great and healing does happen. And thank everybody for the prayers and thoughts.
Awesome.
Good deal. Programming note, we will try to get a show on next week, but a week from tonight is draft night. Randy's got a big draft show going on. Mm-hmm. So he's got several guests lined up. I'm going to be a special correspondent from the Falcons draft party at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Hey, if you want to come on, JJ, you can come on.
I might.
So be looking for
you send me the stuff, yeah.
So be looking for somewhere next week. Don't know exactly when, but we're going to try to get a show next week. But we know it will not be next Thursday night. But go ahead and tune in anyway here to River City Media for the special 2024 draft edition. Randy and them, I think years past, they tried to do the whole first round, but it takes so long to do it. This year, they're going to go to like 13th pick, I think. And that'll be about 3 hours there, even at pick number 13. So be sure to join us.
Falcons. We'll get the Falcons. We'll get the Titans. And we'll get the first, Alabama probably player off the board too.
Well, that's going to be at pick number 8 with Dallas Turner going to the Falcons. So, anyway, join Randy and Phil Monday night for Beyond the Booth. They're going to have Coach Starkey on.
Tim Starkey, 5-5 Marion, first year, 11 or 10-0 last year. Howie in the regular season.
Absolutely. A new part of River City Media joined the Five Red Devil podcast. I don't know the name of it, but our own Jeremy Johnson's on there with Adam and a bunch of others.
I'll go on the next day on River City Media.
Yeah, that's Five Focus is what it's called right now. I think we're moving toward changing that a little bit and doing making some changes. But we have a good time on there too, and so you can find it on River City Media. Randall always shares that link to our podcast when it drops on Thursdays. It drops on Thursdays.
The best Alabama basketball coverage during the tournament. I don't say this just because it's Jeremy. But the best in-depth Alabama opinions, actual stuff that made sense to me. Alabama basketball coverage was on that show during their
I had to apologize because I still hold to what I believe.
Jeremy,
but they went on a run.
Jeremy ate more crow than anybody I've ever seen.
Hey, look, I still believe in what I believe, but they did exactly what I said the team needs to do to compete, and they were able to do that.
Last time I heard Jeremy talk about Alabama basketball was at the SEC tournament, and they were going to get beat that night. No, excuse me, the next night by Florida, and they did. And he said they was going to get beat in the first round of the NCAA tournament by whoever they played, and they didn't. So apparently
they ended up in the Final Four. Shows you what I know about basketball.
So that's some of the shows that's going to be coming up this coming week on River City Media. So be sure to like and subscribe to all the social media networks, Facebook, YouTube, X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it.
And we got to mention we're going to get Coach Carson back on here quick. We haven't had him in a while. So Sylvania football show coming up too in the next couple of weeks. What did I say, Coach Carson? That's not his name. Tanner.
Coach Tanner Nelson.
We're going to get Coach Nelson back on next couple of weeks too.
Yep, absolutely. There should be hitting the spring pretty soon. So the Sylvania football show will be on here as well. But go on there, like, subscribe, pass the word on to everybody else. Tell them that, you got 2 fat guys and Jeremy on here talking all the time. And, okay, Jeremy, you're part of the fat guys too. So you got 3 fat guys talking on here all the time. And Phil Harris joins every once in a while as well. Randy.
500,000 visitors to the website already. This year, not like in life, January to April the 18th, 477,000 people. We're going to break 1.5 million. Keep sharing. And you know what? We like doing this. And there's more coming. We're probably going to be on here with a preview during high school football, which I need to talk to a couple of people about. But you might see more things coming up about the state of high school football in the area here on River City Media.
All right, guys, great show. Looking forward. When we do a show next week, we will recap the Dynasty pay-per-view, see if y'all got y'all's predictions right or not. And so this, this last part is sponsored by Randy's Monster Drink. Be careful moving it because you'll knock your phone over. So, Randy, any last thoughts?
What a rush.
Jeremy, any last thoughts?
Well, the only thing I need to say is I need Randall's address because I'm gonna order from Amazon a phone stand for him so he'll quit dropping his phone. It's on me, buddy. It's on me.
Believe it or not, it's just a piece of junk. I'm waiting on it.
All right. So join us next time. Randall Kenyon, Jeremy Johnson, Howard Cheney. Join us next time when you might see Jeremy doing some type of crazy dance. Good night. God bless. And see you next time.